If you're just joining the stream, my name's Joe Payne. I'm Political Payne. I'm an independent journalist out of Santa Maria, California. Let's just talk about the news of the day. Today's the day after Thanksgiving 2020. And what is this period, November, after the election, characterized by? But by Donald Trump throwing temper tantrums and hissy fits because he lost. He lost the election. He lost it fair and square. The right and the Republican Party keep making bold assertions about voter fraud, and they keep they dissolve in the air, much like the characters in the Marvel movie where that Thanos snapped his finger and they just poof into dust. All of Trump's supposed evidence just completely falls apart like cardboard in the rain once it makes it to a court appearance. I'm going to get to a pretty scathing indictment, or rather an argument by a judge who shot down the Trump team's latest appeal in Pennsylvania. Actually, a Trump-appointed judge, a federal judge appointed by Trump. So this whole thing of everybody's biased against me, even an arch-conservative appointed by Trump himself, is seeing a lot of garbage arguments from the Trump's legal team. So, but before we get to that, yesterday was Thanksgiving, of course, and Donald Trump gave a press event or he gave a video conference call to troops overseas, and he talked with them for all of like 20 minutes, and he talked with them for all of 20 minutes, and then as soon as the stream was already said goodbye, he just couldn't help himself. He immediately turned and began talking about the election and how he believed it was stolen and how Joe Biden is very dishonest and all this voter fraud and everything like that. And there was a really interesting exchange. And the weird thing was he was at this teeny tiny little desk. It was like, and I can appreciate it. You would be amazed at the tininess of the rig that I have set up here. It's on a portable table. I would probably look a lot like Donald Trump at this desk. People called it his tiny desk concert. A lot of people said it was nice to sit him at the kids' table on Thanksgiving for him to throw his temper tantrum, of course. But let's just take a look at the moment that kind of stood out because he really lost his composure, his usual amount of cool that he has when dealing with the press and trying to make these bold assertions about election fraud. Kevin, if your stream keeps going out, please let me know. I hope it's on your end and not mine. If it's on my end, that's a problem. So let me know if the stream keeps cutting out for you, buddy. So here's Trump speaking with journalists on Thanksgiving. Moments after his address to the troops, and check this out.
If the Electoral College votes for Joe Biden, will you concede?
Well, if they do, they made a mistake because this election was a fraud. Just so you understand, this election was a fraud. I mean, they have Biden beating Obama on Obama's vote in areas that mattered in terms of the election, in swing states. And yet he's losing to Obama all over the place. But he's beating Obama in swing states, which are the states that mattered for purposes of the election. So, no, I can't say that at all. I think it's a possibility. They're trying to, look, between you people, don't talk to me that way.
Don't talk to me that way.
Just a lightweight. Don't talk to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way. All right, I'm going to go with another question. Go ahead.
So if the Electoral College does elect President-elect Joe Biden, are you not going to leave this building?
Just so you, certainly I will. Certainly I will. And you know that. But
and you know
I
that.
think that there will...
Oh, thank you for the comment. 45 Lies commented, "Stop the squeal. Biden won, Trump lost." That's very funny. Stop the squeal. So here is Trump just really kind of losing his composure. We all know he loves to be mean and nasty to journalists. But even this was a bit much. This was really leaning into it and, don't ever talk to the president of the United States that way. Got another comment for 45 likes. Creepy porn President Trump and his creepy personal attorney Rudy Hands and Pants Giuliani. Yeah, man. Trump has been a clown for a long time, but this is. And again, I spoke about this in my last live stream. This is a weird moment we're living in because, yes, Trump is a clown. Yes, Rudy Giuliani is a joke. He's sweating hair dye out of his face, melting like some kind of sad, gross, misogynistic, racist ice cream cone on a summer's day, just falling apart before our eyes. But what they are attempting to do is insane, to completely subvert an election. Through the courts, Trump trying to rely on federal judges that he's appointed. I'm going to get more in a bit to a federal judge who slapped down his latest Pennsylvania argument. But also, Trump was openly broadcasting that Amy Coney Barrett is going to help me out with all of this. Amy Coney Barrett. So, the Supreme Court, he's been expecting the Supreme Court to help him steal this election. But check this out. Let's get back to Trump. Let's hear the temper tantrum one more time. It's got to be fun. We got to keep the humor.
Well, if they do, they made a mistake.
Electoral
Because
college
this
he's talking about.
election was a fraud. Just so you understand, this election was a fraud.
This election was a
They
fraud.
had Biden beating Obama on Obama's vote in areas that mattered in terms of the election.
This is the other thing he said. He talked about Biden being behind Obama's vote. Well, how much sense does that make? Joe Biden is not running against Barack Obama. Just because Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama in his elections, that makes no sense for whether or not Joe Biden's not competing against Obama. He's competing against you, Donald Trump, and tens of millions more Americans hate you more than they liked Obama, I guess, because you're a disaster. You're embarrassing. All these things. This is the thing is Donald Trump and the Republicans, they just can't comprehend because they really have created this cult of personality around Trump, driving around with flags with his name on them. Calling him the glorious leader, chanting his name. I would. People in the crowd at his rallies, I would die for that man. They just wild-eyed about him, and so they really can't understand why people would hate him. Why people would truly be disgusted with the way he conducts himself and what he's done to America. And so let's check this out. So this is interesting. He does this. He has this address to the troops. Spends all of 20 minutes on the troops. As soon as he's off of the conference call with the troops, he's like a crackhead. He just can't help it. He picks up the pipe and he starts talking about voter fraud and Biden gnashing of teeth, right? And then what does he do? He tweets this. Report. Biden's Thanksgiving Day address gets 1,000 views online, a record low. Oh wait, I'm sorry. This was before the his event. So he's talking about how, bad Biden is all this. I'll get to this in a sec. But then he tweeted this. I gave a long news conference today after wishing the military a happy Thanksgiving and realized once again that the fake news media coordinates so that the real message of such a conference never gets out. Primary point was made was that the 2020 election was rigged and that I won. So try to follow this, everybody. He's angry at the fake news media because they didn't report on the fact that he wished the troops a happy Thanksgiving. But the primary point was that the 2020 election was rigged. So this is Trump in a nutshell. My wife and I just got a couple kittens, and you cannot keep a kitten's attention off of whatever it is they want to do, which is like bat at a ball of yarn or whatever. You cannot redirect their attention if they really want it on that thing. That's the way Trump is. He's trying to say that the fake news media didn't report on his talk to the troops. He didn't even care about his talk to the troops. As soon as he was done with it, he was talking about the election interference or what he calls voter fraud, right? Which still has yet to be proven in court. There's still no evidence of it. I'm going to get to that stuff. But it's interesting because he's blaming the media for talking about how he snapped at this journalist and how he got super upset. But that's the whole thing. When you're the president, if you or any politician really, if you don't stay on message and you don't keep the message that you want to be out there from what you're doing, if you do something outrageous, if you do something untoward, if you do something divisive and crazy and nutty, well, guess what the story becomes? And you don't have anybody to blame but yourself at that point. Trump can't help himself. This guy's never been able to help himself from, speaking whatever it is he wants to talk about, making it about himself. So check this out. He tweeted this just before all of this stuff. Report: Biden's Thanksgiving Day address gets just 1,000 views online, a record low. Observers say a candidate with 80 million votes would get many more online viewers. Numbers don't lie or add up. And he's linking OANN, One America News Network. This is a network that just had to be pulled off of YouTube because they were spreading a fake coronavirus cure as a report. If you've ever spent time watching OAN or OANN, One American News, you realize what a kooky far right asylum that they're running over there. But then he also tweeted this: just saw the vote tabulations. There is no way Biden got 8 million votes. This is a 100% rigged election. Here's Twitter's fun little this claim about election fraud is disputed. Okay. Let's see. I got some comments here. Kevin: Biden got more votes than Obama. Why can't he understand that? Because he does. He knows very well. I mean, Trump knows that he lost this election. He's just going to burn the house down on his way out. He's a selfish, sociopathic, narcissistic individual. That's just how he's going to operate. 45 lies. All but one court challenge has been turned down and thrown out. Yeah, right? I know, right? Yeah, check out OAN or Newsmax for all your fake news. Check out InfoWars if you can find it for dessert. Yeah, man, that is, no kidding. If OAN and Newsmax are like, McDonald's and, I don't know, Burger King for like nutritional quality for your news, then, oh man, InfoWars, like, what even is InfoWars? It's like, I don't want to crap on any brands, but like Wiener Schnitzel comes to mind. Just this stuff when you're being really dirty, you're just being nasty about it. So there's other. So yeah, he's been tweeting up a storm. And so why is Trump so mad? Why is Trump throwing a big old temper tantrum? Why is he snapping at journalists? It's because these states are certifying their election results. That's what's happening one by one. And his legal team's been trying to block it and having no luck whatsoever because it doesn't take luck in court. It takes evidence. You need evidence of voter fraud. And they're not bringing any, folks. I'm sorry. This is the weird thing. Something happened a couple days ago, the day before Thanksgiving. In Pennsylvania, which holds 20 electoral votes, very big, decisive state. Trump had a chance when it was looking like Pennsylvania was going his way. And then it wasn't enough for just Michigan to flip and Wisconsin to flip, but then Arizona and Georgia flip. I mean, at that point, Pennsylvania's the cherry on top. Or I would say really Arizona and Georgia were the cherries on top, but Pennsylvania's the whipped cream, the big dollop of whipped cream. So, Joe Biden's got this thing. So they've been Trump and Republicans have been trying to discredit the Pennsylvania results. And they did it in a really kind of a hilarious way. The Pennsylvania State Senate, I guess, held a hearing. And I've tried to look into this a little more. Some people were saying this wasn't technically an official hearing of the state legislature, that it was basically a glorified conference by Republican lawmakers. It was done in a hotel. So check this out. Here's some footage from that. Let me know if the audio issues are still there, everybody. But check this out.
The chart where there's a circle, it says on election day. What that indicates is there is a spike in loaded votes of 337,000.
So that's Giuliani on the right and one of these other lawyers, and they're talking about irregularities as the votes came in for Pennsylvania.
Plus or minus some votes that were added in there in one big batch. So that was an anomaly in the reporting. Normally you would expect to see a smooth curve going up, not any big spikes. That's kind of what Greg was talking about, the anomalies of loading and uploading those votes. So
There's
that
spikes
big
in the
spike
system.
that occurs there is a prime indicator of fraudulent voting.
And that's 604,000 votes in 90 minutes, is that right?
Correct. This is 337 votes.
37,000, I think.
337,000
Yep.
votes.
45 Lives. Why didn't they hold this event at the Four Seasons Landscaping? I know, right? They couldn't. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but Four Seasons Landscaping, where they had that goofy press conference just after the election, they're like doing gangbusters with merch. They're selling T-shirts. People just love it. They're hitting them up. But anyway, what this guy's talking about, it's kind of hilarious. He's talking about how as votes came in Pennsylvania, especially as they were counting it overnight and the days following Election Day, there were these big spikes of Democratic votes for Joe Biden. Votes for Joe Biden. Oh my gosh, since there were big spikes of votes for Joe Biden, it must be fraud because we said so. The Republicans also keep arguing, and OANN keeps bringing on statisticians. We have statisticians and people who know numbers and fancy jargony things that say that there's no way all these votes could have gone to Biden. Look, this is how it works. A bunch of the votes, most of the votes went to Biden, and some of those votes did go to Trump, but we had massive spikes in votes for Biden after Election Day because of mail-in votes. Okay, Trump was discrediting mail-in votes this whole time, saying it was corrupt. So most Republicans didn't do mail-in voting. What we're seeing now through the data that is coming out is that more people might have voted in this election than at any time in American history, not just because Trump is a polarizing figure for or against him, but also because it was just easier to vote. Mail-in voting, because of the coronavirus pandemic, expanded in multiple states. More people could vote than ever before, right? So there's that. But then Trump was actively discrediting mail-in voting, saying it was wrong or fraudulent or fake votes, fake ballots, right? So you had all these Republicans who just did not vote that way. And then you have urban centers like Detroit, Philadelphia. They are packed with Democratic voters. And it just takes longer to count more votes. If you have a rural area with less people, you can get the votes counted quickly than a major metropolitan area. Literally millions of people are living there. Now, the other thing with Pennsylvania is you have these Pennsylvania state senators crying crocodile tears because saying, oh, I can't believe these massive spikes. The Pennsylvania state legislature made sure themselves that mail-in votes would not get counted until Election Day or even after in-person votes. So they set it up this way, where the votes that they knew were going to trend to Biden came in later. Because I don't know what they thought. I don't know if they thought they could actually stop the vote count or stop the will of the people. I mean, they did think they could stop the will of the people. But like I said, I'd get to this federal judge. This is the latest case to be dropped. Federal appeals court panel rejects Trump's request to block certification of Pennsylvania's election results. So Trump is literally trying to block the whole results from the entire state of Pennsylvania. And not just this judge, but the judge in that they appealed to, that this is an appeal. The judge before this had a scathing rebuke of this argument. Like, you're saying you want me to disenfranchise the entire state of Pennsylvania, millions and millions of voters, because why? Because you think you have seen anomalies when you haven't, because you're complaining about the way you've alleged that vote watchers were treated when there really hasn't proven anything about the veracity of the vote or the legality of the vote. And so this gets interesting. A federal appeals court on Friday rejected President Trump's request for an emergency injunction to overturn the certification of Pennsylvania's election results. They said it had no merit. And this is from the judge, the argument. Quote, voters, not lawyers, choose the president. Ballots, not briefs, decide elections. The opinion was written by Judge Stephanos Bibas, who was appointed to court by Trump. This is a Trump appointee. This judge was appointed by Trump. Hello? Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure we all take a note of that. And this was an unanimous decision. Quote, charges of unfairness are serious, but calling an election unfair does not make it so. Charges require specific allegations, then proof. We have neither here. So this is what we're talking about. This is a complete subversion of the democratic process. This isn't, hanging chads in Florida. This isn't stopping a recount. That was a subversion of the democratic process, in my opinion. Al Gore should have probably been the president if he, in fact, the recount showed that he won Florida. But here we have Trump is trying to disenfranchise a whole vote, or a whole state, and multiple others. But these lawsuits just keep failing and failing. And why do they keep failing? Well, incompetence. Total rank incompetence. This is interesting right here from this guy. People are missing the best part of Rudy's numbers today. He said 1.8 million ballots were sent out and 2.5 million came back. And here's the punchline. The first number is from the wrong election. So he's going from stuff from the primary. So, again, I vacillate myself in between. Is this just funny? Is it super dangerous? It's both. It's slapstick and funny, and Trump throwing a tantrum and pointing his finger at a journalist and telling him, you don't disrespect the president of the United States. It's funny and it's goofy, but at the same time, this is dangerous. He is spurring a bunch of his base into believing that the election has been stolen when it has not. There is no evidence for that. And again, they keep failing to show any evidence. They just claim, well, statisticians say it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense is their arguments.